and welcome to this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I have the pleasure of being here today with Teju Prasad, who is the creator of the app You Promised! Exclamation point. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to hear about this app because I think I could use it. So
Sure.
So I wanted to first find out a little bit about your background.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So are you a computer science major? Or?
Yeah, partially. So my undergraduate was actually in electrical engineering.
Okay.
And then I did a master's actually in electrical and computer engineering.
Okay.
But so my background is kind of half electrical engineering and computer science, and that involves a lot of software and learning how to program.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my academic background.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you created the app You Promised, how did you even come up with this? How is this your first app?
Sure.
Give us the story of
absolutely.
behind this.
So I was working as an engineer in different industries. I've worked in aerospace and kind of the satellite defense industry,
Okay.
And I'd worked in financial software for a little bit, just doing straight software development. And about a year ago, I just thought, okay, I really want to learn about this mobile world, and this, I felt, okay, I have a software background, so it might actually be a little bit easier for me, more so than the average person to jump into it. So I kind of took it as a challenge to just learn a little bit, and I watched online videos and read like forums and such, and I was just trying to learn how to develop apps on my own. And then I started, going to meetups and meeting people and talking to people. And
We're creating apps, or
exactly, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
all people involved at all levels. So the meetups are mixes of developers, and some people are people who have startups that are looking for developers,
I
and
see.
so it was kind of a mixed community. So there was a developer that I met, and we kind of worked together on one of his apps that was kind of like it involved a lot of audio recording. So I thought, okay, well, this might be a good thing to learn. So I started to dabble around in it, and I wanted to, when you're looking for jobs and stuff, a lot of companies, when they are looking for developers, one thing that sets one developer apart from another is, do you have an app in the store?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because that serves as, at least it gives you some level of credibility in the sense that, okay, this person has taken the time to at least learn some basics, to at least go through this process.
Exactly.
So that's really what motivated it. I wanted to just have, I wanted to have an app in the store that I can say, all right, well, look, I've taken the time and I've gone through the basics, and I, at some level, I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So I was just looking for ways to combine, audio and text. And then this idea, I guess it kind of came from just general experiences of, and I think this is experiences that almost every person can share. I think each of us have in our lives certain people that are constantly saying things like, "Oh, did I say that? Oh, really? I thought wait, were we supposed to meet Wednesday, or was it?" Oh, Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday.
Right.
These kind of things, and I thought, well, now with how prolific mobile phones are, and how with mobile apps. I mean, what I was thinking was, okay, well, what things are useful on the go, on the fly, and I thought this would be a really interesting thing to put on a mobile phone. So now if you're out somewhere and you want to just get something down, record something, but between two people, you can do it with this app. So that really motivated were those two things: just my desire to get into mobile technology and get practice, building something, and then also just this general experience that I think is pretty well shared by everybody, because almost everybody I talk to, when I say it's between, it's geared for parents and kids. I mean, the big joke that everyone says is, well, yeah, I can use it with my kids, but I know a couple other people that aren't kids that I'm sure I could use it with them too.
The ones with selective memory, like,
absolutely.
I forgot we were supposed to meet at the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
You promised.
Right, and that's exactly it. It's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be Obviously when, two professionals are engaged in an agreement, they bring lawyers or they write something down and it's all very official and it's professional.
Right.
This is meant to kind of occupy, kind of like if it's totally meaningless or totally professional, it's like right in the middle, is what I'm really kind of going for, that gray area between being too formal but also not having any formality.
Exactly.
So that's what motivated the whole thing.
And so to just give people an idea, because you actually, first of all, you have a website. Where can people find the app?
Sure.
Like what's your website, and where? Is it an iOS, Android? Where can people find the app?
Sure. So the website for the app is it's called You Promised with a D app.com.
Okay.
So that's it's just kind of one word with those three words right in sequence.
Okay.
You Promised app.com.
Okay.
That's the website. And then it has all the information about, from there you can click on the Apple link, and there's actually a contact page there that, for, if people want to share any stories of, I used it this way or I used it that way.
That's great, yes.
Or if they use it and they feel, it would be really nice to have this, or, maybe this, how about this?
Like a new feature or something like
that.
Yeah.
Okay. So just kind of collecting as much information as possible. So that's available on the site. As well.
Is it available on the iPad at this point, or is it just on the iPhone?
Right now, it's just for the iPhone.
Okay.
I mean, it's usable on the iPad. When you use iPhone apps on the iPad, it just shrinks it down.
Smaller. Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely usable on the iPad, but there's no, iPad-specific version as of yet. Right. So right now, it's just for the iPhone, and iPad versions and Android versions and other phone versions are kind of in the works.
Rolling out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we have talked about it, and now I'd like to take just a moment just for our audience to see the actual video that accompanies the app, and this way they'll have a better flavor for what it is. So we're going to take about a minute, because that's how long the video is, and then we'll be right back.
Hey, moms and dads. Does this look familiar? Not anymore. You promised.
Okay, welcome back. We are here with Teju Prasad and of You Promised ! It's an mobile application that's fantastic, as you've just seen. So now that we've seen it and you've explained it, you also explained why you created it.
Yeah.
Did you have a target group in mind, or is this pretty much for everybody who wants to have a solid promise with somebody else, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. So my mindset in terms of target, I'm actually looking at her right now. It's my target were parents of children, I guess, between the ages of say 4 or 5. Really, whenever children start to understand the concept of what is an agreement.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I mean, at some point, when kids are too young, or they're 2 or they're 3 years old, they may not necessarily understand. They might start talking, but they may not necessarily understand the concept of an agreement.
Right.
That's going to be fulfilled at a later date. So as soon as they start understanding that concept, well, then I feel it's useful.
Okay.
I mean, I guess so from that age till maybe about 14 or 15. I mean, I don't know how practical it would be, for someone using it with their 17-year-old. But
I'm not seeing anything to that iPhone, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. That I guess in my mind that was a target demographic. But as some of the people that I've showed it to, and some of the bloggers and whatnot. I mean, many people have joked that, it's useful for kids, but I'm going to use it with my husband, or I'm going to use it with my wife, or my so and so, or this and that. Hey, if people want to use it for any purpose, they're free to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a great. I can see like gym buddies. I can automatically see people doing that and saying, hey, we're going to meet up on Thursday or something like that.
Right.
So we have about a minute left in this segment.
Okay.
So we're going to wrap this up. But the second part of the segment, I want you to tell us a little bit about the other app and how you started.
Absolutely.
Even before creating this app and things like that. So,
you got it.
So we're going to be back in about a minute and right now we are talking to Teju Prasad, and his mobile application is You Promised, and you can find it on his website, youpromised.com.
That's it.
And we'll be back in a second.
Thank you.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public, educational, and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Welcome back to this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. Thank you again for being here. We are going to we're going to talk a little bit more about You Promised.
Sure.
But can you tell us, is this a free app? Is it a paid app? And how did you decide whether or not to your pricing structure?
Absolutely,
like that.
yeah. So we actually decided to make this a paid app, but just at the lowest price tier, so a 99-cent app.
Okay.
And really, the main reason for doing that was that we didn't want to bombard anybody with ads, and we didn't want to upsell anybody. I've already, from the initial round of feedback from friends and other people, there are already a few updates to the iPhone version that we have in terms of kind of creating like some fun little reports, like 14% of promises this month were fulfilled, and things like that. So we just really wanted to focus on developing the app and adding features and just letting those features roll out to people for that initial 99 cents. And a lot of the apps that are free, they're free because there's ads or they're upselling you to something else, and that's not something that we, talking to some friends actually, some people just said, I just want to pay the 99 cents and I don't have to deal with any ads, or I don't have to deal with any, paying anything with purchases down the line.
Exactly.
So we thought this was the best idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit off camera about
Sure.
this not being your first app.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you mentioned that you had help developing this app, or
kind of, yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had, I had developed it myself, but I had a friend of mine who I had met, and he was working on a similar kind of sound related app, so I had just consulted with him from time to time when I needed it.
But you completely wrote all the code.
Yeah.
And all this. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And then
Thanks.
I guess you obviously put it into, you submitted it into the SDK, the software development. You applied for a software development.
Sure,
you went through the entire process?
Yeah, actually, yeah, absolutely. I took it from, so I'm a registered Apple developer. And,
okay.
And what developer, if you were to develop an app, you would have to submit it to the store, and then they review it, which takes about a week to maybe 10 days. Then they review it. They have a whole bunch of guidelines, to make sure that the app is, doesn't have anything objectionable or obscene, or doesn't violate any of their policies or anything like that. And once that happens, they approve it, and then then it's live, and you're kind of like a one-man cottage industry in that way.
But that's pretty cool. cool that, I mean,
Yeah.
you just did it yourself. Like, you didn't
Yeah.
outsource it. I mean, it sounds like you may have gotten some hints or tips from somebody
Sure.
else who was doing the audio, who was doing a similar audio mobile app.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But you basically wrote the code and did
Yeah.
this, which is pretty impressive.
Thanks.
That's actually very impressive.
Thanks.
However, you said this is not the first app.
That's right, that's correct.
You also created another app.
I did. So my first app, which I was kind of using it almost as an exercise to learn app development as well, was it's called Not a Feather,
Okay.
and the title refers to a documentary film that I've actually wrote and produced that I created this app, the Not a Feather app, as a companion for.
Okay.
So the app actually has more video clips and images and more
okay.
information. A lot, with any documentary, you take any topic, it's always going to be limited, right? Because you have to decide what to cut and
Right.
what to put in and what to edit and all that. So many people were saying like, oh, I wish I knew more about this topic, or I wish you could have gone more into this, or I wish you could have gone more into that. Well, I thought doing a mobile app was a good solution for that, because it's something that can be constantly evolving. If down the line I want to put more clips in, or I want to add
Right.
information, or what have you, I mean, it can be constantly evolving. I thought that was a better option than doing like DVD special features, because once again, that's fixed, right? Once I
Right.
decide what to put in those special features, and then you sell a DVD or what have you,
It's it.
it's
That's-
fixed, exactly.
yes.
So this was a little bit more organic and had the potential for evolving.
Yes.
So that was my first.
And it
project.
sounds like you could actually take feedback. If someone said, for example, I would love to have seen this.
Yeah.
You can just do it, and it can be evolving the whole time, as opposed
Absolutely.
to like a static DVD. This
Absolutely.
Is it. Okay.
Yeah. And I think actually a lot of major studios are trying to do that, especially with some of their bigger franchises, where if you have a set of movies on like maybe the Harry Potter series or something like
Right.
that, well, you can have one big Harry Potter app. Or, I don't know if they have that, but
Right.
I mean, it seems to me that would lend itself better, because it can encompass the entire series rather than being locked to one of the individual.
And
movies,
people
yeah.
are using their mobile phones for everything.
Sure,
So
sure.
why not have an app? I mean,
Right.
who's going to go home and look at a DVD when you could just pull it up on pull up a
Absolutely.
screenshot or a
Yeah.
video or whatever on your
Absolutely, yeah.
So you mentioned the app was created for a documentary.
Yes.
Do you mind just telling us briefly what the documentary was?
Not
on?
at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Sure. So the title of the film is called Not a Feather But a Dot.
Okay.
And it deals with the I guess it's the history, evolution, and history, perception, and evolution of the South Asian community in the United States.
Okay.
So part of it is my own personal experiences, because I grew up in this town, actually, in Maplewood.
Okay.
And but my parents grew up in India, and so I was raised here as a child of first generation immigrants. And so it's really kind of covers some of my personal experiences, but also some larger, I guess, analyses of how did certain perceptions come to exist, and what are some of the social and historical elements that have shaped the ethos of the Indian American community or South Asian American community.
Okay.
So at a larger level, that's what it is. But I tend to do it. I try to do it with a lighthearted approach. I mean, even the title is somewhat, kind of lighthearted in a way.
Can you explain what?
Sure. Yeah. So it's just a phrase. Just kind of refers to, there being two different groups in the U.S. kind of consciousness about, being called Indian. One being the East Indian, Asian Indians, and one being the Native Americans. So it's a phrase that kind of I've definitely heard in various media outlets and movies and TV shows. And we actually in the film we actually even show a clip of a movie where two characters are talking, and one of them says, "Oh, he was Indian, dots, not feathers." And so, so it's definitely a phrase that I think most people in my position have heard,
Okay.
and then I think equally most Native Americans have heard as well.
Have heard on the
Yeah,
other
I mean,
side, okay.
they'll hear the converse of that, but yeah. So that's why I thought that would be a good title, because I think it's it's kind of fun and it kind of sets the lighthearted tone, but it also is very realistic in terms of this is what this is where kind of we start from experientially. I mentioned in the film as well that one of my first memories growing up was explaining to somebody that no, I'm not a Native American. I'm from South, I'm an Asian Indian. And when I say first memories, I mean as a 4-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really one of the reasons why why I chose that title as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be sort of an onerous task as a 4-year-old to have to explain. Unless it's to another. I'm assuming
it was to another 4-year-old. Sure.
Okay.
It was to a peer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe.
Sure. No. Yeah. You never know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So if I wanted to see this, is it available online or?
Right now, actually, it's just it's available via DVD off the website. The website for that project is just notafeather.com.
Okay.
And we are planning for digital release sometime soon. And we also have screenings, in different cities. We're actually planning a New York City screening with another local group in like late September. So all that information will be posted on the website as well as the Facebook page.
Okay, and then so as a consequence of after you were done with the documentary, you created the app that goes along with it.
Yes.
Because you found a lot of people wanted more information, or was this just something you had planned on doing even when you started the documentary? How did it
Sure,
evolve?
yeah. No, it was definitely more the first.
Really?
It was, I had never even thought about doing mobile programming until after I finished the project, the film project, and I was thinking about it I was kind of thinking about, doing mobile at a very, abstract kind of nebulous level.
Right.
And it was actually one of my friends who, he knew that I was learning, I was watching some tutorials and stuff, and he said, it's probably better that you learn app development while doing a project that you're actually vested in, because it'll motivate you to complete it.
Right.
And then he said, why not just do it for your film? And I said, I don't know, maybe I should. I think I will. And it was just that simple. It was sometimes it just takes somebody else to just kind of give you that little spark, and that's what happened. And that's kind of what triggered it. I thought, okay, yeah, it's a simple enough idea that I know the content. It's not like I have to go and get the content from somebody else. So I have the content, and so yeah, it just kind of worked out.
And I'm curious, how long did it take you to develop the first app?
Sure.
And compared to the second, did you learn a lot in between?
Sure, yeah. Actually, I would say the first app actually was a little bit quicker, just because I was learning and I was just as soon as I reached a certain level, I wanted to go through the process of submission and show people that I can do it.
Okay.
So that one, I would say that probably took me maybe 4 months.
Okay.
The other one took the You Promised actually took me a little bit longer, about five and a half.
Okay.
And that was because I was working with separate graphic designers. I wanted to give a much more professional, enhanced look, and then also dealing with user input, and because you can record into the app. And also, it's data storage too. So the Not a Feather app is just a consumption app. There's just stuff that you can watch and listen to. You can't really interact. Whereas this one is an interactive app.
And so You Promised. You mentioned that you could. Maybe I misheard, but did you say that you could tell whether people they actually did go through with whatever it was, or
right. So right now, what you can do is when you save the promise, it stores it, and then you can actually email it out to somebody, and then of course you can kind of listen to it. You view and listen to it. You can click on it, and then you can play what you recorded as your voice signature, and then you can read it. We're working on this other enhancement you're talking about, where you can actually mark promises as completed and then get a report, or
that's great.
But all this stuff is meant in fun, right? I mean, it's not going to be it's not meant to be a serious. Okay, this is my report, report card or anything like that. Yeah. So the idea is to make it fun, but hey, look, there's a little bit of formality here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think it's a fabulous app. I can't wait to download it myself. And again, it's for people, because we have about a minute left now, so I want to make sure that people know the exact website to go to.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it is...
Oh, it's www.youpromised.app.com.
Okay, perfect. So that is it for this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.